What's cracking, everybody? You're back with Mr. Berger, and tonight we're taking a look at this newer rendition of Hunter Bridge Spam, and that's kind of the main difference, the fact that there's a Hunter in it. So I was looking at TV Royale for a little while. You know, sometimes I float around there, check out some of the decks that the pros are playing, as well as other various websites, you know, like Stats Royale, or Deck Shop, or Royale API, or something like that. Anyway, I was looking at TV Royale and I saw this deck, and I saw a couple people playing it. It's basically like the classic bridge spam deck, but with the Hunter in there. And there's a few different things that I've seen take that slot before, even like the Baby Dragon or like the Night Witch or something like that, or the Royal Ghost. But in this variation, you've got the Hunter. So if you don't know how to play a bridge spam deck, it's definitely a very aggressive deck. It's a very aggressive style of play. And if you haven't already, make sure that you take a look at one of my other videos. I did at least 2 already on a bridge spam deck, a part 1 and a part 2, and those will give you more tips on just how to generally play the deck overall. This video is going to focus more on, you know, the actual replays at hand and discussing them and talking about the usage of the Hunter. So that's the main difference here, as I've already said. The Hunter. Hunter has a very interesting role. He is a tank killer, and he is also pretty effective at clearing out swarms. And again, I've done a few videos on him, so you can check those out as well if you're interested. But if you place him right in front of like a giant or a golem, at point blank range, he'll just absolutely wreck it. So this gives you something really reliable to kill tanks in this bridge spammy deck, and it also gives you like a ranged support card. And if you place him at far range, then he does a great job of clearing out like skeleton armies. He can attack air, so he can kill minion hordes, so on and so forth. Now I mentioned that he's a tank killer. We've also got the Inferno Dragon in this deck. And the Inferno Dragon is obviously a tank killer as well. So you've got 2 things to answer that golem, or that giant, or even that lava hound, because both of your tank killers attack air in this deck. So that's probably a pretty good thing to have in a bridge spam deck, I feel like, because, you know, that might be one of your weaker points, is being able to take care of tanks. Although honestly, that Inferno Dragon did a pretty good job. But hey, the Hunter, as I mentioned, is just a great all-around card, and you can use him as a tank killer or a swarm clearer, or even just as, you know, a standard support card, kind of like a musketeer or a wizard. Of course, you got that Dark Prince in there still. Dark Prince, yeah, he did get nerfed, and he got nerfed pretty hard. Did he? I don't think so, actually. I feel like his nerf was pretty not that significant, pretty insignificant in a way. It was just like a minor nerf to, well, it was a pretty significant nerf to his shield HP, but he still has that shield mechanic, so he can still absorb like a rocket if he needs to with his shield. So it's not too major. I feel like he's still a really solid card, and he received so many buffs, and that last set of buffs just skyrocketed him into like the top of every deck, and you just saw him everywhere. Dark Prince was just all over the place, and now I'm seeing him a lot less since that recent nerf. But I don't know, guys, I feel like that nerf wasn't that significant, so I think this is still a solid deck, and I think he's still a really solid card. Of course, you got your standard 2 spells. You got a light spell and a medium spell. If you have a preference, I'm sure you could switch it out for like a poison for the fireball, or a log for the zap, but that's just what this deck runs, and it's a personal preference for me too. I definitely like those 2 cards. I like having those as my medium and my light spell. Get your Bandit. Bandit is a great support killer. She's kind of plays the role of a mini tank. She's just a good card all around. If you don't have her, you could probably maybe turn it into like a double Prince deck. Maybe even just put like a Knight. No, you already have Ice Golem in there. So try to get that Bandit in there if you have already. Because my go-to replacement would be like a Dark Prince or Battle Ram, but you have both of those already in here. So make do with what you got. Get your highest level card in there. Alright. What do we have next? Battle Ram is just standard bridge spam. Battle Ram is going to get nerfed real hard here soon. Maybe by the time this video is out, it will have been nerfed. Not like really hard, but it'll be knocked back by more things now, so it will definitely receive a nerf. But I think it's still going to be a solid card. So that's pretty much everything. Take a look here. I've got both my tank killers down, and they are just absolutely wrecking that golem there, and I'm able to successfully defend. And at this point, I think that I can probably just, chip away at his tower with my fireball and zap. But I decided to go ahead and play defense, draw out the match a little bit, and then try to go for a counter push on the right here. I've drawn his attention and his elixir away on the left there, so I send in the battle ram. I use the zap just to kind of try to distract them. And my barbarians don't quite connect, the ram doesn't connect. But the death damage from the ice golem brings it low enough, the princess tower low enough, so that I can just fireball it. And it destroys it. Alright guys, this is a really cool match. I'm really excited to show you this particular one because it went really far into overtime until there was only about 30 seconds left, and we'll see how I pull it off here. I did actually have another match that was a draw, and it's one of the only draws I've ever had on in a challenge. I mean, I get draws all the time on ladder, but in a challenge, because you got that extended overtime, I almost never get them. So I was surprised to get it with this deck too, since it's like an aggressive deck. It's a bridge spam deck, right? So you spam all that stuff at the bridge and catch them off guard and try to take out their tower. But anyway, I did get one draw, and this deck against this Expo, it went on forever. So we'll see what I do here. You're gonna see that I consistently have to answer that Expo, but I do have a lot of answers to the Expo. I can use the bandit, and the really cool thing about the bandit is she can actually dash through the river. So if he's got his Expo on the other side of the river, I can use her on my side, and she'll dash right through it and connect to that Expo. Of course, I've got the ice golem, and that's going to be your go-to counter, or a kind of distraction for the Expo. Anytime that you have like a knight or an ice golem in the deck, that's generally what you want to use. So you use it in kind of the center of your side of the arena, but in the opposite lane of the Expo. So if they place it on the right, you place it in the left there, and it'll just waltz its way along down the opposite lane, and the Expo will connect to the ice golem and just be distracted the whole time. And if you haven't taken a look already, here, like so, I use the ice golem in the opposite lane of the Expo, and if my stuff doesn't kill it here, then it'll get distracted. But anyway, the bandit does enough damage. As I was trying to say earlier, if you haven't already, go ahead and take a look at my how to counter siege video. It's one of my older videos for sure, but I think it's still definitely relevant, and it just kind of goes through the basics of how to counter a mortar or an Expo using that strategy that I was just discussing a minute ago with the ice golem. Alright, here, look at how the hunter clears out the minion horde here. He does a great job. It does connect a little bit, but it doesn't do too much damage, so it's pretty effective. I probably could have placed him a little bit more efficiently, but regardless, it does a good job of taking them out. I used the fireball there to take out both of those dragons, or chip away at both of them. And then the hunter kind of, since he's shooting from afar, his bullets spread. He's not hitting them at the point blank range, so it turns his attack into kind of a splash attack. He's able to hit both the dragons, the Inferno Dragon and the baby dragon at the same time. I place him here again on defense. Everything is, drawn over to him, and look at that. The point blank range bullets destroy that Royale Ghost, even though it's stealth, because he was locked onto the minions, and then the splash, the remaining ones, destroyed the minions. So that was a pretty awesome interaction. Alright, so here you see every time he puts down that Expo, I got that ice golem going in the opposite lane, and there the bandit connects. There we have the Expo locking onto the ice golem, and at this point the Expo is pretty much dead. It definitely does get some chip damage off of my tower there, but not too much to worry about. And here we're going into overtime, and he does have a lightning, it looks like. So maybe he just never got the opportunity to kind of cycle through that lightning to chip down my tower, because I kept him on his toes. Because this is a bridge spam deck, I'm able to provide a lot of aggression and provide a lot of pressure, and maybe he doesn't want to invest into using that lightning offensively too much, because then it might give me the chance to catch him off guard and kind of, take down that tower with that elixir advantage there. So here the Inferno Dragon is going, flapping his way across there. and it does connect to the X-Bow and get a good chunk of damage off on it, so that was really good for me. You'll see I actually used the Ice Golem in the same lane there. I think that was probably a misplacement, but regardless, it's still pretty effective, if not just as effective, at distracting that X-Bow. And then you got the Dark Prince, and you got the Bandit, and they connect to the tower there. And that's really solid, so it actually brings this tower down lower than me. So I am able to connect a few times from time to time. Solid Fireball taking out the Minion Horde and also chipping away at the Inferno Dragon so that it doesn't wreck my tower. Now I got his X-Bow actually locked onto my Hunter now, which is not good for me. But I got the Battle Ram going in there. It doesn't get its charge effect off, so it doesn't do as much damage as it potentially could. But it still connects to the X-Bow and provides 2 Barbarians for me, which allow a distraction, or rather provide a distraction against that X-Bow, and they chip away at it and kill it. And he's commonly or consistently using this double dragon combo. He's got a very air heavy deck, and I keep fireballing his Minion Horde. I want to get fireball value, and I want to make sure that I can clear out his swarms. I'm trying to kind of catch him off guard and win that way, because I don't want to, you know, use my fireball and zap too much on his tower, and then again, like kind of like him wasting his lightning on mine or using it on mine and giving me an advantage. Then you know, I would give him an advantage. But at this point I finally connect there because he uses his lightning offensively, and that, as I just mentioned, gives me that elixir advantage, and I'm able to provide a really powerful push with that battle ram and connect to his tower. Well, that's it for this new bridge spam deck that I've been playing a little bit, guys. I really like it. I love bridge spam, one of my favorite archetypes. It's a lot of fun to play. Having that Hunter in there is really cool because it's still a relatively new card. A lot of people are figuring out how to use it still, and playing those off-meta cards can definitely play to your advantage because people don't know how to counter them as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure that you leave a thumbs up. All those thumbs up really help out the channel, so I would appreciate it. If you have any suggestions or questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I love responding to comments, and at the moment I respond to all of them. Subscribe if you haven't already and you like what you saw. Let's see, what else? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a good night.